Hello everyone, myself Dr. Sanjay Kumar Soni, oral and maxillofacial surgeon. In my first video on venous drainage of head and neck, I have discussed about supratrochlear and supraorbital vein. In this video, I will cover the rest of the veins of the face. Facial vein. Facial vein coursing with or parallel to the facial arteries are valveless veins that provide the primary superficial drainage of the face. It receives the supratrochlear and supraorbital veins, runs obliquely downward on side of the nose, then turns posterolaterally below orbital opening, passing downward and backward behind facial artery but less tortuous course. Below the mandible, it crosses the submandibular gland, the posterior belly of digastric, and the styloid muscle. A little below and in front of angle of mandible, it is joined with anterior division of retromandibular vein. After that, it enters the internal jugular vein near greater cones of hyoid bone. Uppermost segment of facial vein above its junction with superior labial vein is often called as angular vein. The facial vein lies behind the facial artery, upper part of the face and at the mandible. The artery and vein are in close relation. In the middle part of the cheek, however, the vein lies at some distance behind the artery and is also more superficial. Facial vein tributaries. Near its beginning, the facial vein connects with superior vein directly and also via supraorbital vein. Facial vein is thus connected with cavernous sinus. Facial vein also receives the veins of the L of the nose and at lower level a large deep facial vein from pterygoid plexus, and it is also joined by inferior palpebral vein, superior and inferior labial, buccinator that drains area of the cheek, parotid and gastric veins that drain area from parotid and masseter muscle. Below mandible it receives submental, tonsillar, external palatine and submandibular vein. Importance of facial vein. Facial vein have no valves and it connects to cavernous sinus by two routes. Number one, via ophthalmic vein or supraorbital vein. Second, via deep facial vein or deep facial vein to pterygoid plexus and hence to cavernous sinus. So it means infective thrombosis of facial vein may extend to intracranial venous sinuses and it can lead to cavernous sinus thrombosis. Superficial temporal vein begins in a widespread network joined across scalp to contralateral vein and with supratrochlear, supraorbital, posterior auricular, occipital veins, all draining same network. Anterior and posterior tributaries unite above zygoma to form superficial temporal vein, joined here by middle temporal vein. It crosses posterior root of zygoma and enters parotid gland to unite with maxillary vein to form retromandibular vein. Tributaries of superficial temporal vein are veins from parotid gland, anterior auricular vein from external ear and transverse facial vein from face. Maxillary vein, a short trunk, accompanies the first part of maxillary artery. It is confluence of vein from pterygoid plexus, passes back between sphenomandibular ligament and neck of mandible to enter the parotid gland and here unites with superficial temporal to form the retromandibular vein. Coming on to the retromandibular vein, it runs posterior to the ramus of mandible within the substance of parotid gland, superficial to the external carotid artery and deep to the facial nerve. As it emerges from inferior pole of the gland, it divides into anterior branch going forward to join with facial vein and posterior branch which joins posterior auricular to form external jugular vein. Posterior auricular vein. It begins in parieto-occipital network, also draining into tributaries of occipital and superficial temporal vein. It descends behind auricle and joins with posterior division of the retromandibular vein or in just below parotid gland to form external jugular vein. It receives tributaries from cranial surface of auricle. Occipital vein. It begins in posterior network in scalp, pierces the cranial attachment of trapezius, then turns into suboccipital triangle and becomes deep. It may follow occipital artery to end in internal jugular vein, or sometime it joins posterior auricular and hence forms the external jugular vein. Now coming on to the pterygoid venous plexus. The pterygoid plexus is a network of very small veins that lie around and within the lateral pterygoid muscle. It is placed between temporalis and lateral pterygoid and partly between two pterygoid muscles. Anteriorly, it reaches from the maxillary vein. Anteriorly, it reaches from the maxillary tuberosity and superiorly to the base of the skull. The sphenopalatine, deep temporal, pterygoid, gastric, buccal, dental, greater palatine, and middle meningeal veins are branches from inferior ophthalmic vein. All are tributaries. Sphenopalatine veins draining the posterior part of nasal cavity and greater part of the palate. Middle meningeal draining the dura mater, which leaves the cranial cavity through foramen spinosus. Articular veins from plexus in and around capsule of the temporomandibular joint. Auricular veins from the external ear and transverse facial vein draining the posterior part of cheek and parotid gland. Pterygoid plexus connect with facial vein through deep facial and connected with cavernous sinus through veins that passes through sphenoidal emissary foramen, foramen ovale and foramen lacerum. The pterygoid plexus is a network of very small veins that lie around and within the lateral pterygoid muscle. It is frequently not demonstrable in the dissected cadaver because it lies within the muscle. Some interesting fact about this plexus. The role of the pterygoid plexus is to act as a peripheral heart, aiding venous return by the pumping action of the lateral pterygoid muscle. The plexus is valved and sucks blood from incompressible parts, face, bones, orbit, and pumps it back into the maxillary vein. It pumps each time the mouth is actively opened, talking or both, but not when the mandible drops by gravity. Second, the prolonged and forcible contraction of the lateral pterygoid muscle to open the mouth in yawning is accompanied by a light contraction of the diaphragm to aid venous return from the abdomen, and often also by stretching of the limbs to empty them of stagnant venous blood. Thus, it is possible that, at least in some instances, yawning is a purposive reflex triggered off by venous stagnation, but the phenomena has not been fully explained. Thank you.